Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Big Lair here in Nagoya, Japan. It's January 15th, Wednesday. Got a nice sunny day here in Japan. It's not too cold, not too cold. Weather's been getting better. I don't think it's from global warming, but we've had a really easy winter here in Japan. Not many cold temperatures, not many days near freezing where I am, so that's good. Of course, no snow. And recently it's felt like spring. You can just feel spring in the air. That's pretty awesome. First of all, I just want to say I didn't want anyone to think I was making my title clickbait. You know, I put Clif High's name in my title there. It's not clickbait. Reason I put Clif High's name there is because I just want to give a shout out to Clif. A lot of people badmouth Clif High. You know, they say his WebBot project and his Alta reports, you know, the timing was always off and he never really predicted anything. I would disagree with that. Actually, if I had to name, you know, my heroes in life, Clif High's name would be on that list. He's definitely one of my heroes. I actually had a chance to meet Clif High back in 2004. I was living in Japan then. I came to Washington State to do a log home building course. Got in touch with Clif back in 2004, tried to meet with him. It didn't work out. I think his mother had a health issue. And thinking about it, you know, he didn't know me from Adam. He might have thought I was a nut job or something and just didn't want to meet with me. That's cool too. But anyway, so I knew way back in, 2004 that Clif High was a pretty cool guy. You know, he's intelligent. He's able to consider ideas even when they don't agree with his own beliefs or his ideas. And he loves Aikido. So come on, what more could you ask for in wanting to chat with somebody, right? I also love Aikido. I've done a lot of martial arts, and Aikido is one of my favorites. Okay, so the reason I'm giving Clif a shout out is because I recently had, I'll call it a channeling event. Actually, 2 channeling events happened to me. In the first event, I was given some information about the crypto market. And the information I was given is that the powers that be, the elite, whatever name you want to give to this group of people you think are controlling the world or controlling things, and I'm thinking there's more than one group, right? Just like an organized crime, a mafia family. You know, you've got more than one mafia, more than one mafia family within each ethnic mafia. So, the Italian mafia has different families. I'm sure what we call the Russian mafia, there's different factions there. The Chinese mafia, the Japanese mafia, they all have different factions, right? So I'm guessing that the powers that be, the elites, whatever name you want to give them, they have different factions too. So I'm just going to collectively call those people the powers that be. So I received this channeled information, and I've never received channeled information before. You know, I'm on a psychic journey developing my psychic abilities. I normally get information from my spirit guides. It's usually audible. I can hear it. I sometimes get pictures and movies. When I meet people, if I have a chance to sit down with someone and relax a little bit over a cup of coffee or tea or something, I'm usually able to see movies from that person's life that, describe that person to me or show me important events in their life. And oftentimes I'm able to see a person's past life as I'm looking at them. I'll see their face change to what their face looked like in a previous life, and then I'll see some scenes from that life. So that's pretty interesting. Anyway, I've never received channeled information before. But recently I had 2 channeling events. Now the first event was, as I said, about the powers that be, and the information I received is that the powers that be have achieved a certain level of control over the crypto market. They realize they won't be able to control the whole market, and they've achieved a level that they're happy with for now, and they did a test run. This last pump, not the current pump that's happening as we speak or happened, a few hours ago or whatever. I'm talking about several days ago, a week ago maybe. That pump was a test run for the powers that be to, how can I say it? It was a test run for their people to get in. They're all in the crypto market. They've gotten in at some really low prices. They pumped the price up, notified people, hey, we're going to pump it. Probably the prices will go here. When it does, sell. So they pumped it. People sold. Price went back down. They bought back. Or they just pulled some profits out. So I was given this information that they're at a point where they're okay. They're not completely happy with the control they have, but they're happy enough to where things can move forward now. So that was the first information I got. So why am I talking about Clif High? Why is he in my title? Well, Clif High, with his web bots, talked about that in the future we would have this space-based civilization. We need to go in space. Now, I didn't think too much of that, right? I mean, a lot of Clif's stuff has come true. I've been a big fan of Clif's ever since 2001 when he posted something on a website. I won't name the website. There was a guy doing economic forecasting kind of stuff, and Clif was in contact with that guy. So back in, before 9/11, I knew about Clif's work. I didn't know his name, but I'd heard about what he was doing. Hey, there's this guy doing this and he's thinking something's going to happen. Boom, 9/11 happened. So that really caught my attention. And why? Because I had felt something was going to happen. I didn't know what it was. And then when I was someone who daily went to this economic website and read things, and when I saw that, it was like a huge aha. This is exactly what I'm feeling like. I could just feel, boom, that was it. And the rest is history. So I've been a fan of Clif's ever since then. I don't know why, there was that connection there between us, but that's the universe, right? So anyway, so he's in his reports, he's talking about, the roaring 20s, right? Humans are going into space. So all this technology will have to be released in a pretty short amount of time. If you think about the history of our, modern world, so to speak, it'll be quite quick and people will be off into space. And I didn't think too much of that. Of course, I'm looking forward to it. I hope it happens, right? But I'm not sure. So anyway, my second channeling event, this information came through me, and it said that yes, we will be entering a space age, an age where we go off into space. Now, the interesting part of that was, so we'll have the technology, we'll have these, we'll call them spacecraft, able to travel into space, but there's something else that we're going to be able to do. We're going to be able to travel to remote parts of the Earth that in the past, or up until now, we haven't been able to travel to. Maybe, one or two people have traveled to a certain area and said, oh, wow, I found this or I found that. But it would just be impossible to pull any sort of resources out of that part of the Earth. Now, I know right away, probably some of you are thinking, yeah, Antarctica, we're all going to get in our spaceships. We're going to fly down to Antarctica and pull out all this tech. I was not shown Antarctica. I was shown other areas of the Earth, namely these desert type, very barren, kind of rocky, mountainous parts of the Earth, very remote, almost no one has ever been there, these areas have these very valuable resources that we were not, number one, we were not aware of it, and number two, if we had been aware of it, it would have been extremely expensive to bring in, people and supplies, and the whole logistics chain would have been a nightmare and too expensive to do anything with. So once we get these spacecraft, these devices that obviously will work on anti-gravity or something, some kind of new fuel source, once we have those, there will be an exploration of our planet, of the planet Earth, where people will be traveling to these remote areas and finding very valuable resources. What are those resources? I'm not sure, but I was just shown like a desert, very barren, mountainous, rocky areas. It didn't look like anything was there to me, but I was shown it's under the ground. Okay. And also, people will be exploring the oceans. We've wondered about the oceans for so long. There's still, I don't know, probably, what do we know, 2 or 3% of what's in the ocean? We don't really know what's in the oceans, especially when you get down deep. That will also be part of this exploration, besides remote areas. So I just wanted to add on the information that I had read in Clif's reports, because I've been getting Clif's reports for, so many years now. So I just wanted to give Clif a shout out that, hey, I've got some verification, or I was given information from somewhere, we'll say the universe, right? Universal consciousness gave me this information, and I thought, oh man, that really connects with what Clif High is saying. I should give a shout out to Clif, because I feel like sometimes he doesn't get enough credit for what he does. So I'm not trying to do clickbait with my title, but I just want to give a big shout out to Clif. Now, along with this, going into space, being able to explore remote areas of the Earth, I was also given information about 2 other important topics. The first topic is health, health supplements and health-related technologies. Now, lots of things have been suppressed for many, many years. We all know that, right? I don't need to, go into the details and tell you all of that. If you don't know it, you should research it. But most of you, if you're watching this, you're probably aware of how many health supplements and technologies and, things that we could label as medicines, they've been suppressed, severely suppressed. And protocols, health protocols, right? As we go forward here, in quite quick fashion, the powers that be will realize that it's not in their best interest to suppress these things anymore. Right? Until now, they've had this paradigm where they wanted to keep everyone just healthy enough to keep us going and, being the fodder for the factories and, producing goods and whatnot. Just keeping us healthy enough to run the machines and, work the cash register at the fast food restaurant or whatever, but not healthy enough to actually go out and do anything spectacular in life, right? You need money for that, or you need connections for that. But they're going to realize, maybe they already have, which is why I received that information, that it's no longer in their best interest to suppress this, because once you get people traveling away from the Earth, this level of control won't mean anything anyway, and we'll have maybe big parts of our population leaving the Earth. I'm not sure. I don't quite understand all the information that was given to me in this channeling. I'm calling it a channeling, but maybe it was just a download of information. I don't quite know how to describe it, because I've only had it happen twice to me in my life. I'm like 51. It's only happened twice, and the last 2 weeks, both of those things happened. Maybe in the near future, I'll get a better handle on what to call this, but I'm calling it a channeling. So anyway, as more and more humans go out and explore, we're going to need people to be healthy. And people will not be near doctors. They will not be near hospitals. So a lot of technology, health protocols, and health supplements, and when I say supplements, that's like a really huge area, everything from vitamins to peptides to performance-enhancing substances, things that athletes are taking now, top athletes, Olympic athletes, professional bodybuilders. Those people are 20 to 30 years ahead of the rest of the population as far as what'll make you perform better, what'll make you healthier. All of that is going to come down to where the average person will have the ability to get the information, use these supplements, and use these protocols and technologies. Because, you want healthy people going out in space and exploring for you, basically, right? Okay, that's one. The second thing that is going to change is our education system. I'm really happy about this. I've been a teacher for over 20 years. I have fought the systems, the current education systems, wherever I've been. I have fought them as hard as I could wherever I was, because I could just see they were failing people. So I'm really happy about this part. Education will change. Why? Because until now we've had this old system taken from, Prussia? It was taken from Prussia, the system that they used to train soldiers, and it was adapted to our industrialized nations because the powers that be realized, hey, we need people smart enough to run these machines, but not so smart. So, we need a system. Well, let's call it schooling. We'll build these schools. We'll put people into classes by their age, not by their ability. We'll make the lessons a certain length. We'll have a school bell that goes off, train them like rats. Okay, when the bell goes off, get up, go to the next classroom, right? So we have it wasn't that good of a system. If you go back to the one-room schoolhouse, the one-room schoolhouse system, if done correctly, was a fantastic system for teaching and learning. Why was that abolished? It was too good. It produced smart people. It produced informed citizens. And you don't want that if you're trying to control a country. You need people to be schooled, not educated. So anyway, we've got this system in place. It's not a good system. It's going to fall by the wayside. Why? Because once you get out and start exploring space or traveling to remote areas of the earth, you're going to need people who are very independent-minded, who can quickly learn on their own, that are flexible, people that have to, their mind has to be flexible. You'll need to solve problems on the fly. You'll need to learn new information quickly. There won't be time for a 4-year bachelor's degree anymore. That's insanity. You'll need to get up to speed on things anywhere from a couple of weeks to a couple of months. There won't be this, I'm going to a sociology degree. I'm not knocking sociology, right? But, I'm getting a sociology degree. I'm getting a degree in basket weaving. I've been at university for 4 years. That's total craziness, right? So the education system will change as a result of everything else changing, which is fantastic. Okay, so that's the information I have there. Now I'm going to start with the crypto update, okay? So here's the crypto update, Big Lair's crypto update for January 15th. Okay, let's look at some crypto prices here, just the overall crypto market. Wow, prices are up. Is this nice or what? A nice pump here today. Now, I checked these prices this morning about, 5 hours ago. It's almost 11:30 now, so I think it was around 6:30 this morning I checked prices. Bitcoin was up to 8,800. 8,800, isn't that awesome? Bitcoin Cash was up to 363. Litecoin is up. Everything is up in the basket of cryptocurrencies that I look at. I look at 18 different cryptocurrencies on a daily basis. I not only look at their prices in fiat currency terms, but also in Bitcoin. I look at how prices have changed from day to day, what percent prices are of the yearly high, what percent they are of their all-time high, and then what percent they have to go to reach their all-time high, along with 7 other metrics, market cap, stuff like that. So everything is up. The biggest gainer was Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash up over 35%. That's pretty awesome, right? What else we got here? We've got my 3 amigos, my 3 buddies, Neo, Tezos, and OMG. Tezos. These 3 guys have been good to me. I call them my 3 amigos because they've been very good to me. I've traded these 3 coins successfully, and I'm very happy with these 3. Now, Tezos recently had a nice high a number of weeks ago, up to $1.80 something. My buy-in price on Tezos is, wait, before I get into this, I should say one thing. Anything I say about cryptocurrencies is for entertainment and educational purposes only. I am not giving anybody advice. Don't listen to a thing I say. God forbid you do anything I say, because who knows how it's going to work out. So everything I'm talking about in regards to cryptocurrencies is just for entertainment and educational purposes only. Okay, so you got to know that. Do your own due diligence. I've got like a whole working theory of cryptocurrencies and trading strategy that I consider before I even make a move in the crypto market. So like I said, this is just for educational and entertainment purposes. Don't listen to me, but I'm just going to tell you what I've done and where I think things are going, okay? So getting back to Tezos. Tezos had a nice pump up over $1.80. That was great. My average buy-in price on Tezos is around $1. And I had some price targets on Tezos. My first target got hit, boom, I sold some Tezos. Second target got hit, and before I could sell some Tezos, it jumped to like $1. It went up to that $1.84 or whatever that high was, and it came back down, and I was able to sell at $1.78. Pretty beautiful, huh? So it really blew past my target. I was at work, wasn't able to do any, selling or buying of cryptos. And then recently, when it dropped down to 126, I didn't catch the 126, but I caught the $1.31. So that's pretty sweet, to sell at 178 and buy back at 131. I know some of you out there are watching this and you're saying, oh, Big Lair, that's a no-brainer. You buy cryptos when they're low, you sell when they're high. And then you buy back when they're low again, like that's a no-brainer. That's true. But almost no one does it. Why is that? Almost no one does it. The people who are saying this to me, when I say to them, okay, have you done it? Well, no, I'm a hodler. I hear that a lot. Oh, I'm a hodler. Okay, that's cool. I'm fine with people who are hodling, but hodling's not for me. Of course, there are some coins I do hodl. I don't want to mess with them because I've looked at the market. I've studied the market for, oh boy, seriously, I've studied the market for 8 months now, a little over 8 months. And I've been writing things down. I've got a spreadsheet that I've been looking at daily. I've got, 14 or 15 different metrics I look at on a daily basis. So there are some coins I do hodl. Why? Because it doesn't seem feasible to trade them. They just don't have the movement patterns. I'm not able to see the patterns in their movements in order to buy and sell them. Other coins is very easy, easy in my opinion, which is, Neo, Tezos, and OMG. I've been talking about Neo, Tezos, and OMG since last May. I've been putting out videos on YouTube saying, hey everybody, look at these 3 coins. They're having definite highs and lows. They're trading within this certain band. Maybe you should think about doing a little bit of trading on these. So, when I'm talking about these coins, I've got a lot of theory that I've developed on my own and like trading plans. I've got a plan for every coin that I hold. I've calculated everything out. I've got Excel spreadsheets for everything. And then I have general ideas, not just ideas, but things written down on paper that says, if A happens, do B. If C happens, do D. I have the whole thing planned out. So that's one of the reasons you shouldn't listen to me, because, you don't have you don't have the theory that I have, and you don't have the trading plan that I have, most likely, okay? So Tezos, nice jump, came back down. I'm super happy. I increased my Tezos considerably. A very, very nice buyback recently at 131. Now, if Tezos goes down again, I'll be super happy because I still have some Tezos that I put into stable coins. I haven't bought the Tezos back yet because it hasn't gone down far enough. And I'd be happy if it goes up even more. I'll just sell more Tezos, right? Now Neo was down pretty good. Now it's $11.22 today. That's, if it gets up over 12, that's a sell target for me. That's a sell target for me. And this brings up a good point. I just kind of mentioned it. People have said to me, oh, I'm a hodler. That's cool. I'm fine with that. Everybody, do what you want. As long as it doesn't affect me, I don't care what anybody does, actually. But over the last 2 years, I've seen things go up and go down, go up and go down. All the prices are going up and down. And I just realized, wow, how come I am not taking advantage of this? The powers that be are taking advantage of this, absolutely. So why shouldn't I? So now for Neo, if it gets up over 12, I forget what my target price is, my exact target price. I can't remember offhand. I'll have to look at it. But when it does, I'm going to sell. Why? Because I think the price will go back down in the future. The same with OMG. OMG, Man, I had some beautiful trades on OMG last year, the same with NEO. But recently Tezos has been the one running, so Tezos is the only one I'm dealing with right now. I am looking at 3 other coins very carefully, but those haven't really done much, so nothing's happening there. Now I do have, I've got this one crypto that I love. Well, I love it in a strange way. I love it because it's from Indonesia, I believe, and I've been to Indonesia a number of times. I've seen how the people live there, and when I saw this cryptocurrency and I saw the company and what they're doing and all of the things they've developed up until today, it's very impressive. So I have some of that coin, and I'm looking forward to getting more of this coin. It has a tremendous, way to go back to its all-time high. It's like one of the best cryptos in all of the market, in my opinion. So far, nothing that I've seen can even come close. If we're just going back to the previous all-time highs, I mean, Bitcoin has to go up 127.48% to go back to its all-time high. This coin that I'm talking about, my mystery coin from Indonesia, maybe most of you know what this is anyway. I'm just being a little fun here by not saying the name. If it goes back to its all-time high, it's going to pump 11,137.41%. Are you frickin' kidding me? Did you hear that? 11,137.41%. That sounds a little bit better than 127% of Bitcoin, right? So will this go up to its previous all-time high? I don't know. That's just one of the indicators we have. We don't have very much to look at as far as historical data on cryptocurrencies because the market is so young. Of course, with Bitcoin, you can go back a number of years, but if I just combine everything and I think about, well, most coins came out in the last several years, that's not a lot of data when you look at something like the stock market. The stock market, Jesus, that goes way back. We could even get crazy and go back to Europe 250, 300 years ago. They had stock markets in different countries, and we can find out data from those markets, historical data. So with cryptos, it's a very, very young market. So one of the only things we have to look at to guess future performance is previous all-time highs. Now I think we're probably going to reach a point where, a day where previous all-time highs won't mean so much because we're going to shoot past all of them. And if we do that with this Indonesian coin, I think this is from Indonesia. I've heard people say it's from India, but I believe it's from Indonesia, and it's actually it has a meaning in Indonesian, in the Malay language. So anyway, if this thing goes back to its previous all-time high, holy moly, anybody who has these things will be doing well. I mean, right now, okay, the price is up 11% from yesterday on this mystery coin here. But you could buy 100,000 of these coins for $13.90 today. $13.90 for 100,000. That's nuts. So then 1 million would be $139, right? So, geez, that's not a bad buy, but it's taking a risk. I'd call it a crazy buy. You'd have to be crazy to buy it. But if it goes up to its previous all-time high, you'll get crazy rich, right, if you had a bunch of these. So lots of things to consider in the market. Like I said, prices are up. And remember, when you're looking at coins and the prices are up in fiat currency terms, in dollars and euros and yuan and yen, the rupiah, whatever, you also want to make sure the coin's price is up against Bitcoin because let's see, for example, Tezos, my buddy Tezos. Tezos price is up 4.76% today over yesterday. However, it lost value against Bitcoin. If you had 1 Bitcoin and you bought Tezos today with your Bitcoin, you would get 235 more Tezos than you would have yesterday. So the price of Tezos is up, but the actual value is down. And we really should use Bitcoin as a comparison to see, is the value really increasing or not increasing? Okay. Okay, now let me switch gears here and talk about a couple other things. Bitcoin SV. What the heck? Bitcoin SV. When I checked this morning, it was over $430. It was over $430. On the coin market cap, it surpassed Bitcoin Cash. I think, the prices are down a little bit now compared to this morning, early this morning when I checked. But Bitcoin SV, man, if you were someone who got, when Bitcoin Cash did the fork and Bitcoin SV was created, if you were someone who held on to those until now, man, kudos to you. You are looking good today, huh? Go out and buy yourself a steak dinner or something. Steak and lobster. That's a beautiful pumping price, huh? If I had it, I would get rid of them immediately. Over $400, maybe it's around $400 right now. I would get rid of them immediately, just because it's a crazy price for me. You got them for free anyway, and if you have a bunch of them, man, that's what I would do personally. Like I said, don't take my advice. Actually, I'm not giving advice. It's just entertainment and education, right? But that's what I would do, and I would put it into some other coins, which I think are going to go up even more than this Bitcoin SV, but that's just my opinion, right? And I don't know much. Okay, the next thing I'd like to talk about here is, let's see, I've got some articles that I pulled up, some very interesting things going on. One of them was this NBA. Now, I don't follow sports really. I'm not a sports guy. If I watch sports, it's going to be boxing, rodeo, or ice hockey. To me, those are like three real men's sports, Rodeo, I don't care what you say, there's nobody tougher than a rodeo guy. I have a friend who likes soccer. Actually, rugby, I've watched rugby a few times. Okay, it's growing on me a little bit, but don't tell anybody. I've watched soccer with a buddy of mine. Oh, isn't soccer great? These guys, they get like stepped on, or oh Jesus, I pulled a muscle in my toe. They walk off the field with two guys on each arm helping them out like they just got, shot up on the shores of Iwo Jima or something. My God, what's wrong with these guys? They're a bunch of little babies. Now, I can say that because I've watched rodeo. I've watched rodeo live. I watched a 16-year-old kid. Now, this was like a Midwest America rodeo championship. 16-year-old kid, so a high school kid. He rides, gets thrown off. He rode 7 seconds. He gets thrown off. As he gets thrown off, he gets a horn in the rib, cracks 3 ribs. Gets 3 cracked ribs. And him and one other rider, they're tied for points, so they have to do like a ride-off. This dude's got 3 cracked ribs. Now, I've never had a cracked rib or a broken rib. I've had friends who've had cracked ribs, and even the slightest quick motion would bring tears to your eyes. I remember my one friend, he had 2 cracked ribs. He sneezed in one of the classes. He and I were we're in school together, right? He sneezed, and literally he just cried for about 30 minutes because it was so painful. Sneezing. I can remember once he dropped the book off his desk and he reached real fast to grab it. Same thing, super painful, tears in his eyes, right? So I get it, cracked ribs, broken ribs, it's a painful thing. This kid's 16 years old, 3 cracked ribs. He's got to do a ride-off to have a chance at winning this Midwest rodeo competition. What does he do? He doesn't wimp out. They wrap him up. He gets back on. And he does another ride for 7 seconds. And at the end of 7 seconds, it's not like the bull just stops and says, okay, you can get off now. I'll stop right here so you can slide off because I know your ribs hurt like hell. No, you got to jump off the damn bull after 7 seconds. He rode that for 7 seconds and then jumped off like a man. Jesus, like a boss. That dude was a boss. And you would have never guessed he had 3 cracked ribs until you saw him standing in the winner's circle holding up this huge trophy, holding his side, looking like he's going to pass out. So anyway, I got a lot of respect for the guys in rodeo. I don't think there's anyone out there tougher than a rodeo guy, although hockey guys kind of come in second, and boxers, there's a lot of tough boxers. Sometimes I wonder about the boxers these days. Are they as tough as the guys were, years ago during the golden era of boxing? I don't know. But if I'm going to watch sports, it's going to be rodeo, ice hockey, or boxing. Okay, but let's jump over to basketball. We got a guy here, NBA guy, Spencer Dinwiddie. I love that name, Dinwiddie. He just tokenized his own contract. Let's see. So he plays for the Brooklyn Nets. He just announced that he's got an Ethereum-based investment vehicle for his contract. NBA's not happy about it, but it seems like they agreed with him. They agreed enough to let him structure this the way he had it. And he describes himself on Twitter. This is Spencer. He describes himself as a tech guy with a jumper. Okay, nothing wrong with that, man. I love to see people who are, breaking barriers. They're not thinking out of the box. They're out, there's no box for them. That's what I like about this. So let's see. Now, they weren't happy about it, but he turned his 3-year, $34.4 million contract with the Nets into an investment vehicle called the Dream Fan Shares. And let's see, he will sell 90 SD8 tokens, or professional athlete investment tokens as they're known in the industry. And these tokens can only be purchased by qualified accredited investors who have passed various Securities and Exchange Commission and legal standards. And let's see, the regulations have stipulated that the tokens, which are going to be priced at $150,000 per token, cannot be sold or traded for 1 year. So basically, this guy, he's putting tokens out there equal to $13.5 million of his $34.4 million contract. Whoa. So what is this going to do? Well, this is going to let Spencer claim that $13.5 million of his contract up front like a business loan. Isn't that beautiful? Oh man, I've got to give credit to this article before I forget. This is from bitcoin.com. Let me get to the top here. Kai Sedgwick is the author. This came out, it says January 15th, so today it looks like. And this is in the news section of the bitcoin.com website. Okay, so this is great. Will other athletes follow suit and do the same thing that he's done? They're going to tokenize their contract. Now it says, let's see, it says Spencer's 3-year bond. They're calling this a bond, okay? It's forecast to pay out a 4.95% base interest on a monthly basis, with the entire principal dispensed at the end of the period upon maturity in a bullet payment. Okay. He initially had different ideas. He kind of got shot down. But man, let's give credit to Spencer Dinwiddie here for pulling this off. This is awesome. I had no idea. I had heard about him trying to do this, and there was a lot of flack, and the NBA wasn't happy. His team sure as hell wasn't happy, but the guy did it. More power to him. This is awesome to see. Very happy about that. Okay, what's the next thing I got here? Well, the next thing is China. China is going to roll out, they're going to test this digital currency that they have. And this comes from npr.org, nationalpublicradio.org. I'm guessing this is a website from the States. This is from January 13th. The author is Scott Horsley, and his title is China to Test Digital Currency. Could it end up challenging the dollar globally? Okay, now I'm guessing a lot of you don't know much about China, as in you haven't been there. I haven't been there either, but I lived in Malaysia for 7 years, dealt with a lot of Chinese people in Malaysia. Of course, I was in Indonesia, dealt with a lot of Chinese there. I've been to Hong Kong, so I know a little bit about what's going on in China. And everyone is using WeChat. Okay, there's WeChat and there's Alipay. Now, when I was in Malaysia, already my coworkers were using, I worked at a Chinese company, actually. All of my coworkers were using WeChat Pay. And this was even 5-6 years ago, maybe more actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, 5-6 years ago. And my coworkers, like, we'd go to lunch, and most restaurants in Malaysia, they won't split the bill. They just, boom, okay, this is what all of you owe. So whoever had money that day, cash in their pocket, would say, okay, I'll pay. And then on the way back to work, everyone was on WeChat sending their portion of the bill to that person. Just like boom, 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 boom. If I remember correctly, under a certain amount, there were no fees, no transfer fees. So we were moving money around on our phones for nothing. Alipay, it's the same way. And if you talk to anyone in China, in fact, a lot of Chinese tourists come to Japan, one of the things they complain about is that Japan is so behind on cashless shopping, using these apps to pay. Now in Japan, a lot of stores, guess what? They've got to put Alipay in. Why? Because if they don't, Chinese tourists won't spend money here, and Chinese tourists make up a big part of Japan's economy. Now they do anyway, right? So it's funny, if you have these two apps, if you have Alipay and WeChat, boom, you're good to go. I mean, I've talked to people who've told me they've been in the middle of nowhere in China, literally the middle of nowhere. In fact, one of my coworkers took a video. He's in this place, there's nothing there, He walks into this dilapidated house, which I thought was like an abandoned house. No, that's the local supermarket. He walked in and bought some food, and the lady said, I don't take cash, I take WeChat. You got to use WeChat. And he was like, oh, cool, I got WeChat. That's awesome. And he didn't even have to worry about not having, the yuan or the renminbi, however you want to call their money. He didn't even have to worry about having any cash on him, right? Because he had money in WeChat through his bank in Malaysia, and it would top up his account when it got so low. So he was like totally fine. Think about that. Years ago, if you went to a foreign country, at least you had to have a credit card. And if you had a credit card in a foreign country and you used it, your credit card company was going to slam you with an exchange rate. You were going to get a horrible exchange rate. Credit card companies, that's another way they suck extra fees out of people. And then the merchant, they get 4 or 5% deducted because you're using your credit card. So it was a bad deal all around. Or you had to get cash. In America, America's a real shitty country for trying to get foreign currency. What's up with that? You want to get foreign currency, the rates are horrible. You go to other parts of the world like Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia. You want foreign currency? You can go almost anywhere and get any currency you want at really good rates. Really good rates. Even here in Japan, it's like America. The rates they give you are terrible. Oh, it's terrible. Whenever I travel from Japan to somewhere in Asia, I never exchange my money in Japan. Never. I'll take yen or dollars to whatever country I'm going to because I know I'll get a fantastic rate in that country. So this article here is saying they're going to roll out a digital currency. This is a no-brainer for China. Already they have, they've got hundreds of millions of people using WeChat and Alipay. Think about that. Hundreds of millions of people. They probably have more people using these two apps to pay than we have a population in America. America's like, 375 million or something? There's more people than that in China using these two apps to pay for their daily, groceries or electric bill or whatever. You take a taxi, you're not pulling money out of your pocket, you're just flashing your app and the guy scans it. Now, a lot of people will say, oh man, if we use an app, the powers that be or Big Brother's going to know what we're doing. They're going to know anyway. If they want to know, they're going to know. And my thing is if the powers that be think I'm such an interesting guy, they'll do what they need to do to find out what I'm doing, right? The other thing is once everything goes digital, there's going to be so much information out there. It may be hard for someone to track. It may be. Now, someone could argue against that and say, oh no, they're going to have, they've got these tremendous computers, they're going to use quantum computers and da 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 da. Well, maybe, but if you keep thinking like that all the time, you're going to be miserable in your life, right? So as far as I'm concerned, for a number of years in Asia, I've used these apps to pay. I've found it extremely convenient, and I'm for it. Personally, I'm for it, right? Especially, okay, here's a good example. Okay, my wife is out today. She's out traveling around somewhere, and I've got her, now in Japan, like I said, they're way behind the times. They don't have anything like, well, they do, there is an app called Line. A lot of Japanese use Line. There is Line Pay, and now the government is trying to push the use of cashless payments, although they're about, 5 years behind the rest of Asia. Anyway, they're making the effort. Okay, more power to them. And I've got like this, a card. This is, it's not WeChat, it's not Line, it's not Alipay, anything else. I've got this other card that I put money on for my wife. And with that card, she can pretty much go anywhere. It's almost like a debit card, although, I can go to a machine, put cash on it, and then boom, she's got it. Now, let's say she loses it or someone steals it from her. I've got it set up to where I make a phone call, the card is stopped, and then I'm given a new card. I just go to one of these places, offices that sells these things, usually a train station, and I give them, my number and this message from the company, and they'll issue me a new card. So it's pretty safe, it's pretty fast. And I am trying to get my wife to use some of these, these mobile app paying systems, because it's just so darn convenient. So it's nice that if you have this, you don't need to worry about cash. I'm a guy who used to walk around America with 20 bucks in my pocket. In Japan, I'd walk around with 50 bucks in my pocket. I remember years ago going on vacation for like a 3-day vacation. I had $500 in my pocket. The people I was with had $3,000 in their pocket, and they were shocked that I only had 500. So, that's a little bit of a risk, right? I mean, I don't think many people are going to try and knock me off, bump me off for my money, because I'm like 6'4", I weigh about 260. Maybe I'm not a target, but think of other people. So this is, there's safety is also an issue in this. Okay, so China, boom, they're going to roll this out. I'm excited to see what happens. The Chinese are already used to this. They're already used to this. Cryptocurrencies are going to be a no-brainer for them. And if you don't know much about China, there's one thing I'll tell you. Every Chinese person I know, since they were little kids, they've had the idea of money, of how to generate income, how to get other people to work for you, how to invest your money. All of these things have been pumped into them since they were young. Money's important. You got to make money. You got to figure out investments. You got to figure out how to make other people make money for you. They've been given a tremendous education. It's almost an obsession with Chinese families to make sure their kids understand money and what money can do for you. Now in America, we don't have that. We don't have our parents pumping that idea into us every single day. So we're at a slight disadvantage. So I think for the Chinese adopting cryptocurrencies, I knew right away that the Chinese would be the first adopters. I just knew it, because they're always looking for the next thing, the next investment, what's going to be the thing that's going to make me some money in the future. They're already doing this. Okay, let me jump over to my next story. I think this is my last one here. There was a whale alert, a Bitcoin whale alert. This came from CryptoPotato.com. The author is Jordan Lyanchev. I hope that's right, the pronunciation. If not, I apologize. It was updated on January 14th. And it says, whale alert, $1 billion in Bitcoin was transferred for $80 in fees. So it says that, at the current price of Bitcoin, this person, I believe, whoever it was, we don't know who it was, there was a wallet in cold storage. Let me see if I can get the information here. Let's see, where was this sent from? So someone sent about 124,946 Bitcoin. And they did it, so that's like 0.7% of all Bitcoin mined. That's a pretty good amount of money, and it would be equal to $1.08 million. And what are the fees on this? The fees were only $80. Okay, it was in a Bitfinex cold storage address, and it was moved the other day. Now, this is interesting for a few reasons. So this person just sent $1 billion from point A to point B for $80. Was there a bank involved? No. Was the SWIFT system involved? No. So this was from the Bitfinex cold, an exchange to a private wallet, I'm guessing. I don't know. But the important thing here is that $1 billion in Bitcoin was sent for $80. Only $80. Years ago, my dad sent some money for my kids for Christmas, and I want to say his bank took, $30, $40 to send it. JP Morgan in New York, because it was going through that bank, part of the SWIFT system, they took $90 of that payment. $90, and I think my dad sent $300. By the end, I got less than half of that, and my Japanese bank took some money. So talk about a bunch of crooks, these banks, right? They've got their hands in everybody's pies. Man, I'll be glad to see those banks fail. I'll be so glad to see the banks fail. This is awesome news. This person sent $1 billion worth of Bitcoin and for $80 in fees. No banks involved. It's beautiful. And you and I also know that Bitcoin's not the cheapest cryptocurrency to send. Litecoin should be less expensive. Digibyte, my God. I don't think Digibyte's market cap is $1 billion. You could probably send all of the Digibyte in existence for less than $80. I'm sure you could. If anyone has sent any amount of Digibyte, you know that the fees are so minuscule. It's like 0.000 whatever, right? It's so minuscule. This is awesome news. I hope this kind of story gets out more, because then people who are out there paying these high fees to send money for whatever reason they're sending money will say, Jesus, what am I sending this through the bank? Why am I using the SWIFT system? This could all be done through cryptocurrencies for a fraction of the price. Okay, everybody, that's all I have for my crypto update here. Like I said, I wanted to give a shout out to Clif High. He's been awesome all these years. He's given a lot of his time and his efforts freely to everyone. I think he's put out great information. I was never a stickler on time, because Clif always said, that time was something that he knew wasn't going to be accurate, right? He had the long term, the middle term, the short term, or whatever he called it. And the beginning, I forget exactly what the terms were, but he had 3 different time frames. But he said, I'm not confident about the time. I'm just putting these time parameters here to divide the data up. But he never promised us time was going to be accurate. And my thing with Clif is the content has been extremely accurate. It's been awesome. So I really appreciate Clif's efforts. Thank you, Clif, for everything you've done all these years. I hope you guys enjoyed the crypto update here, the prices. I hope some of you are able to make money on this recent pump. I hope cryptos continue to keep going up and up and up. There's a lot of people who are, they're having a tough time. They put a lot of money into cryptos. They don't have much to live on each week or each month, and they really need things to pump. So I hope it all works out for everybody in the way that you hope it will. Okay, everyone, you have a fantastic day. This has been Big Lair on Jack's Private Coffee Corner. You guys take care.